You're right. I hadn't thought of it that way.
See, and that's the thing. And that, again, is something we're trying to get y'all to see, folks. I mean, it's so available. And again, we talk, well, we need the revenue here in the county. And as Ralph has already shown you, it costs more than the revenue could possibly bring in. And this is another point. The only people that stand to profit from the sale of alcohol in Boone County are the people who own the liquor stores. And of course, are they going to hire more employees?
Well, there'll be some employment that takes place, but the only people that will truly benefit from it are the people that own or rent the package stores and the people that distribute the alcohol to the stores. The general populace as a whole will not see a positive benefit to it. They'll get to live with the negative consequences.
That's true. That tells us right away that hospital costs are going to be vastly increased because a lot more people are going to be using hospital facilities. Yes. And that's going to be a cost that we're going to have to deal with. Certainly overdosing, any alcohol related, like the accidents, we're going to have to generate more. And I know you have some facts and figures on that. Cost to the county. And you mentioned, we talked the other day about there's something that says that our hospital can't turn away. Talk about that if you would.
Well, our hospital, when it was initially built back in the 50s, used some Hill-Burton funds, which are federal funds, to start the hospital. And anytime a hospital receives federal funds like that, they cannot refuse treatment to someone, whether they have insurance or not. And you know, our hospital has to write off a considerable amount of revenue each year due to that fact. If you have increased alcohol consumption, which tends to reduce most families' income, their ability to pay, you know, the hospital is going to have to pick up that additional cost as a write-off. So that obviously does not enhance your local hospital's bottom line as far as, you know, whether they're profitable or non-profitable.
It's been my, and I know you deal in where are real estate taxes, personal property taxes and things. So if the hospital revenue goes down, there's going to have to be some increase somewhere, and inevitably it's going to be from property tax, some kind of tax that everybody's going to have to wind up paying for. This is part of that $10.8 dollars you were talking about that's going to be increased in cost.
Well, in Boone County, our hospital is owned by the county, and you know, if the hospital isn't making money, they have to look at either increasing the fees that they charge, or you know, doing something like selling the hospital to St. John's or someone. I mean, no business can continually lose funds and stay in operation, but you know, thank the Lord, our hospital is actually, you know, operating and making a profit, which is good. One issue which I think Carolyn left you a note over there. One issue which needs to be brought out is the ABC board in Little Rock determines that for every 4,000 people that live in the county, they will allow one package store if the county goes wet. That is true, that's factual information, but a bit of information which the opposing side doesn't really want people to know about is once a county goes wet, the local county really loses almost all control over alcohol. If a county goes wet, mom and pop store, grocery store, Walgreens, Walmarts, if they want to sell alcohol, they can turn in a permit, pay their fee, as long as they're not a convicted felon, and the ABC board, with their own determination, determines that there's a public necessity and a convenience that needs to be met, then that permit is approved. And if you look at adjoining counties where that's happened, it's pretty much a rubber stamp thing. If that person turns in the application, unless they're a convicted felon, they're going to get their license. So, Boone County won't have just 9 liquor stores, so to speak. That's how counties like, well, for instance, Baxter County or Carroll County or some other surrounding counties have gone from the permitted number that they started with to, in some cases, hundreds of places that are selling alcohol. And even some people that are for that, I don't think realize the degree of a number of places that could be selling alcohol if Boone County goes wet.
It's to me, it makes sense that if I live in a wet county or a dry county, every dollar that I spend for alcohol is $1 less that I'm spending at some other retail establishment. And let me see the point that I'm getting to, is families who have alcohol right where they can get to it, if they can walk to the store. They're going to spend money on alcohol, cigarettes, and their children. That's $1 that they're not going to have to buy bread, to buy milk, and those kids, we're going to see the children suffering from this. Now, you say, well, if they drink, they're going to go get it anyway. That's not necessarily true, because if it's harder to get, maybe that, and once again, well, in a sober moment, say, that's $1. I need to take care of my kids. And for those folks that don't do that, again, we as taxpayers are going to have to take care of those children.
Yeah,
and we've already got a problem in that area.
That's part of the cost in the $12.80 is for families that do have an alcohol or a drug addiction problem. Society ends up basically having to take care of that family, whether it's welfare, the hospital paying for their care if someone becomes sick, child abuse and stuff. If kids have to be removed from the home, then the state and the taxpayer have to pick up the bill for the care of those people.
Yeah.
Right.
Let me go back for just a moment, because we were talking about why people move to Boone County and Harrison, and you had some statistics on that also about. I believe Harrison was recognized as one of the top 100 small towns in America.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, if you can zoom in on this right here, this information right here, hopefully you can read it. This is a full page ad that we put in the Harrison Daily Times last weekend. And Harrison has so many things going for it. Could Harrison stand some improvement? Of course they could. But Harrison was voted one of the best small towns in America. That was by Forbes magazine. We were actually in the top 100 cities in the United States. We were ranked the #1 cool small market in the South, and that was by Southern Business and Development. That was a recent thing that came out. If you look at greatschools.org, Harrison schools were ranked #1 in the nation among cities of our size. I mean, those are some pretty amazing statistics. If you look at Valley Springs and Bergman schools, don't just want to look at Harrison, we've got other school districts. They have combined for 5 Golden Apple Awards, which are, that is not easy to attain, for academic excellence in the last 5 years. There are very few counties that can even pick out one school district in their county that have achieved what's been done in Boone County, much less 3. North Arkansas Regional Medical Center, they recently completed a $25+ million addition. And they're renovating the older part of the hospital as funds become available. The hospital has done an enormous turnaround. Harrison's hospital for years, a considerable period of time, had a reputation for, if I'm in an automobile accident or something, take me somewhere else. I mean, take me to Mountain Home, take me to Springdale,
I've made
Fayetteville.
that statement in the past. That's true.
Take me to Springfield, anywhere. I mean, the wreck could be on the corner of Main Street and Bower, right there where the hospital is. And they'd say, put me in an ambulance or a helicopter and take me somewhere else. Well, after the addition to our hospital, and we have a new executive officer that runs the hospital, and that's not to demean the previous one that we had, but our satisfaction rating has gone to 99%. Now, that's not an in-house evaluation that's done. That's done by an organization which actually does it with hospitals nationwide. And our approval rating has gone to 99%. Mm-hmm. Does that mean there's still no room for improvement? Obviously, that's not the case. Our new executive officer, when he came in, I was very pleased to hear him say, I want our help paid what they should be paid, but I also expect them to treat people the way they should be treated, and that if they're not happy at their job here, they need to go elsewhere. So there's been a total turnaround in the morale of the people working at the hospital. And another thing that's been done, which is just an enormous plus, is each person that works at the hospital that's in charge of a particular area, they have at least one patient they're responsible for while they're there. And they're to go to the room, check with that person, see what their needs are, see if they have any complaints. And that's made a huge difference.
What I want to say is it seems to me like Boone County has done an outstanding job with our county quorum courts, with our school districts within the county, with our hospital and everything, without this supposed revenue increase that we're going to get. I think they've done very well. We used to have an old saying that I've done so much with so little for so long that now I can do anything with nothing. And but what we're saying is that overall, what we have experienced in growth in these areas, the additional cost could actually hurt our hospital, can hurt our schools, can hurt the county.
Yes, it could. I mean, the money that goes to the states is pretty well determined by property taxes. So it might not have an adverse effect as far as school funding goes. But if you look at areas that have gone wet, that have increased crime rates and all the other problems that go with it, the quality of the schools decreases. We wouldn't have, 3 school districts that are in the top in the country, more than likely, if Boone County went wet. That doesn't mean that they would automatically drop, but if you look at nationwide statistics, the schools that perform the worst, that have the worst overall records as far as student performance, quality of education, they're located in areas that are saturated with alcohol and drugs.
I agree, and you need only drive around, and especially in the larger towns or cities and all. But we're talking about small town Boone County,
right.
And here, we've recently passed laws here in Harrison, Arkansas, about the upkeep of property. We're trying to make it a more pleasant place to look. We're keeping our yards mowed, keeping the old cars out of the driveways and drawing people in. And to me, that's one of the things that we said just a moment ago. The fact that Boone County is dry has drawn a lot of people here. And our overall appearance, people say, that's a place I want to live. And I'm not going to tell you that it's definite that if we went wet that everything would just go blasé overnight and yards will grow up and all, but there's an indication that it would. I mean, we see it in the big cities, we see it everywhere we go. You were talking about the income. We're saying, well, we'll have more income, we'll have more jobs and everything. And do you have any statistics on the average incomes of?
Well, I do, and I think instead of specifically mention the county, I'll just mention the trends that exist. The median income